The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Magicbricks webinar. Our endeavor to empower you with insights on the Indian real estate market performance and consumer sentiments on property prices in the next 6 months. The topic of today's session is Hyderabad market stabilizes, Bangalore and Chennai registered a rise. And our guest speaker today is E. Jayashree Guru. She is the head with content and research Magicbricks. She is involved with a number of global research initiatives and specializes in analyzing research data to provide usable solutions to users. She also works with business in using industry dialogues with senior management in her domains of expertise to generate content solutions that keep audience and industry engaged. She has been a business journalist for over 2 decades with the Times of India, the Economic Times, and the Financial Express. She writes extensively on real estate and infrastructure, city management, information technology, HR, and management. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Jayashree.
Thank you, Aradhana. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Magicbricks PropIndex webinar. This is the second in our series this quarter. The first quarter we discussed the PropIndex as a whole. The PropIndex is an India apartment index, which is an 11-city index where the listed values of properties at locality levels are aggregated into city levels and then indexed to a national index. This is the 13th edition of the PropIndex. We are very happy to say that this time we are going region by region, and this is the second in the series where there's a special focus on the southern region. So what is the PropIndex? The PropIndex is a tool which provides detailed information on price movements and supply and user demand for multi-story apartments and single floors listed across cities. The PropIndex covers the National Property Index, City Property Index and the trends in the city, the listed price monitor, the rent monitor, the yields that you get out of property investments, top preferred localities citywise, demand and supply analytics, locality price ranges, and real estate news, policy news that impacts the city's development. Let's quickly go to the southern region. So what did the PropIndex reveal in the last quarter? This is the April to June 2014 quarter. In Bangalore and Chennai, indices rose by about 1%, while Hyderabad stabilized in the last 6 months. Over 30% of demand was for properties in the 40 to 60 lakh range across South Indian markets. This is an average range. There will be individual locality-wise variations. 2 BHK units topped demand across the south. Chennai was at 61%, Hyderabad and Bangalore at roughly about 50% each. Apartments were in demand. In Hyderabad, 50% of the demand was for apartments. In Chennai and Bangalore, it was 40% each. Remember that markets like Hyderabad and Chennai have been traditional markets where the bungalow and the plotted development have been in great demand. The fact that apartments have come into demand is news enough here. Plots are the second most preferred category. Bangalore has 40% demand, Chennai has 43% demand, and Hyderabad 26% demand. Let's go to individual cities. Bangalore, the city index rose by 1%, which is a negligible rise. So largely this market has been stable. Buyers have been waiting post-elections too. The markets have remained fairly passive and therefore the value is stable. Whitefield, Electronic City and Sarjapur continued to top the preference list. Sarjapur Road and Baneghatta Road, Electronic City and Kanakpura Road were the places that witnessed maximum development. Clearly, IT is still the major driver in the city. Proximity to workplace, improved connectivity, broader roads and outer ring roads remained drivers in the city. 64% demand was for residential properties in the rupees 40 lakh to rupees 1 crore budget, where the supply was about 46%. The 2 BHK category posted a 57% demand, which means that of the total number of users who searched for properties, 57% searched for 2 BHK apartments. The supply, on the other hand, was about 49%. There's a slight mismatch here. North and South Bangalore offered maximum property options across budget ranges. Let's take Chennai now. Chennai city index rose by about 1%, again a very negligible change. Over 50% localities posted capital value rises of about 1 to 5%, but they more or less evened out, which is why the city index held at about 1%. There was a drop in about 34% localities, but not serious drops. The South Chennai continued to be the preferred residential zone, with 6 out of 10 top 10 preferred localities being in this region. Maximum launches happened in the OMR and the GST and Porur in the April to June quarter, according to the Magicbricks statistics. The 40 to 60 lakh homes remain the preferred budget. 25% seek properties worth 20 to 40 lakh as well. So really 20 to 40 lakh had about 25% of usage, and 40 to 60 lakh was the most in demand. Over 60% of demand was for 2 BHK units, and the supply was about 57% of the total. So clearly there's a good demand and a good supply of 2 BHK units. This has been the trend across the South this time. 40% of demand was for plots and apartments. Most of the supply of properties priced was concentrated in South Chennai. Let's go on to Hyderabad. The Hyderabad city index dropped by 1%, which again is very, very negligible. Values rose by 1 to 5% in about 45% of the localities. About 60% of localities reported a drop in rental values. Now, this is a very significant finding, because normally across Indian markets it has been noticed that when the buyer can afford to buy, the rental values post a drop. So if the capital values have risen by 1 to 5%, which is early on in the cycle, which means that most localities are showing a slight upward trend, there are fewer people who are willing to pay more rental values. They would rather buy and pay a monthly EMI rather than pay out a rental value. Gachibowli, Miapur, Kondapur were in demand due to good connectivity and proximity to IT hubs and financial centers. Like Bangalore, IT has been one significant driver in Hyderabad. Over 50% of demand was for 2 BHK units, which is the same as in Bangalore as well as Hyderabad. The supply lagged by 16%. There is more demand than supply for 2 BHK units in Hyderabad. All categories were in demand. The supply was insufficient except in the below 20 lakh. There's more supply than demand in the below 20 lakh category. All other categories, the demand was more than supply. This is significant because in the Hyderabad market, because of the Telangana issue, a lot of developers had held back launching new projects. Now, new launches are expected once all the policy issues are sorted out. Till then, there is more demand because the investors have stepped into the Hyderabad market, and even combined with the local demand, there is a lot of demand for apartments, but the supply is not keeping pace. The demand for luxury units of 1 crore and above was at about 10%, but it is significant that last quarter it was 20%. So the demand for premium luxury units of 1 crore and above has actually dropped. However, 10% is a good volume of demand in the city. Residential plots post over 25% of the demand. South Hyderabad leads, and it is followed by the north. So residential plots are in demand in South Hyderabad, followed by the north. Maximum availability is in West Hyderabad. So why would anybody use the PropIndex? Can a consumer use the PropIndex? Of course he can. If you want to know which part of the city you want to buy in, A good way of figuring that out is compute your own appetite to spend. If you know the volume that you can afford to spend, start with a budget. If you know what your budget is, go to the site and check out what kind of listings are available on the site. You will know whether that property matches your aspirations. Buying a home is clearly not only a purchase decision, it is also an emotional decision in the Indian context. Therefore, you must make sure that the house that you have selected meets your aspirations as well. How do you figure out whether your aspirations are met? There are two ways of doing this. First is resort to formal indices like the PropIndex, because they tell you how that locality where you can buy a house has performed vis-a-vis the rest of the region and the rest of the city. Once you know that that locality has potential, we are giving you how that locality is performing quarter on quarter. This tells you whether you are investing in an area that is early on in the cycle, that is well established, that is high in demand, or whether demand has not yet picked up, therefore you are entering early on in the cycle. Once you know that, you will be able to figure out for yourself whether that area, the values are going up. If you are an investor, and many of you who are future end users would be current investors, while you hold your property till it comes into the, the leverage value is good enough for you to exit the property investment, you would not like to incur an outflow. When you take possession of an apartment, you have to, remember, you have to pay your property taxes, your maintenance charges, your water bills, your electricity bills. It is a good idea to figure out that whether you can get a good rental return while you're holding the property till it gets an ample leverage value. For this, it is important that you understand what kind of yield you can get out of your property. If the yield is very low, don't worry. At least it's taking care of your outflows. Once the leverage value goes up to such an extent that either the value goes up or the rental value goes up, your yield progressively becomes better, and the PropIndex helps you to compute that. Also, you will be able to figure out whether the locality that you have purchased in is coming into the top 10 localities by demand and by supply. If there is more supply than demand, then the consumers would be able to drive a hard bargain. That is not the time when you would like to exit your property investment. If there is more demand than supply, it is a seller's market. The buyers will not have a great propensity to negotiate values. That is probably the time when you should actually start considering whether you want to exit the property investment if the leverage value is according to your expectations. The PropIndex actually helps a user to do all this. We also give you a demand and supply analysis so you can figure out where you stand in the city. We do this analysis by property type, by size, by configuration, by the budget, by the locality. All this helps you to make your choice, and it is, nobody can tell you which property you should be buying. But we give you enough tools to make an informed decision so that as end users, you are not taken for a ride by somebody who has given you false information. Here, information comes up front. Please download the PropIndex and check out the value so that you are able to make an informed decision. Along with this, on Magicbricks itself, we give you a lot of tools on Magicbricks Advice section where you can use these tools and further fine-tune what are the parameters you would like to figure out. The PropIndex is also beneficial to the industry. If you are a financial expert and you are advising your consumers, you would like to have benchmark values. Magicbricks values are untouched by hand. They are mined from the back end. They are dynamically evolved depending on consumer behavior. Therefore, these are very close to what is happening on the ground. These are listed values. The property values are listed values. The rental values are what is listed. Whether it is negotiated outside of this, that is something that Magicbricks does not track. These are not transacted values. But in the Indian context, The transacted values can come in various forms. Registered values are not necessarily the transacted values. So there is no official transacted value that is available, that is close to the market. Therefore, listed values have great significance in the Indian context. For government offices and ministries of urban development, these values actually tell you whether there is sufficient governance in the city or not. Real estate values that we believe are monitors of governance in the city. If there is a new governance initiative, it could be transport corridors are what largely impacts property values. Besides that, water, power, sewerage, drainage, backup facilities, good quality of facilities, all these impact property values. Any change in property values allows the city managers to figure out whether an intervention is required in that locality or not. One important thing that both the city managers as well as the buyers need to understand is that they need to understand and figure out the nuances of their localities and their cities better. The real estate trends and analysis and the quarter-on-quarter movement that we give you helps you to assess what's happening in that locality, and small aberrations in prices or spikes or troughs should be balanced out over many quarters to figure out whether that is cause for concern. The return on investment data is something that we have been receiving a lot of queries on our website, and this has been attended to in the PropIndex. We have also given you the methodology. Please feel free to go through the methodology. It is based on listings of apartments, capital and rental values on the website. Individual properties are aggregated into localities, weighted to cities and then the national index. The weightage is based on supply of properties in the locality and the city. We have covered 12 cities. The 12th, every issue of PropIndex covers 11 cities. Every alternate issue covers a new city, and this last year we have been analyzing the Vadodara market, which has grown significantly. There are about 620 plus localities that are assessed in the PropIndex. Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kolkata and Bangalore are the large cities that are covered. Tier 1, Pune, Hyderabad, Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Noida, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, these are all markets, very active markets that are assessed in the PropIndex. Capital and rental value trends are given quarterly. The yield on investment is assessed. Extensive user demand analytics are present in the PropIndex. Demand versus supply statistics are analyzed. The top 10 preferred localities city-wise is showcased. A home in your budget is a section that has been extremely popular. It was newly introduced, and we find that many consumers have got back saying that within a certain budget, where all do you find homes in that city is a very useful information for them to use. The realistic news snippets give you the policies that have impacted the city's property market. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I would be happy to take your questions now.
Thanks for the insightful presentation, Jayashree. Let's quickly take up the questions now. I request you to read out the questions and their answers so that all our users may listen to your insights.
Okay, thanks, Aradhana.
Welcome.
Which is a good place to buy a plot now in terms of growth, Hyderabad or Bangalore, and what are good locations to buy these plots? This question, let me tell you how to assess which is a good city to buy a plot in. Remember that plots appreciate more in the longer term, but apartments are easier to hold for small investors. So if you are buying a plot in whichever city you decide, you must be sure that the plotted development is sold to you by a developer who is actually holding the plot for you. if you go and buy on the outskirts of a city or in areas that are yet to be master planned into the city, the chances of it being occupied by others, illegally occupied, and you losing your land or getting stuck in tedious litigation is very high. Now, between Chennai and Hyderabad, both are markets with strong demand for plots. Here what you have to see is, I'm assuming that you are an investor. Use Magicbricks to understand which one is giving you better returns. Once you are able to check out which one is giving better returns, see whether how long you should hold your property. For a plot to grow, right now Hyderabad's market will see a lot of change because of the resolution of the Telangana issue. You will see a lot of new investment options coming up across the Andhra Pradesh and Telangana region. And therefore, if you're buying today, buy clearly because you want to live there, or if you're holding it, keep a time horizon and figure out whether you want to exit. In Chennai, on the other hand, we have noticed a revival of interest in the plotted developments. The traditional Chennaiite always wanted plots rather than apartments. There are two drivers in the Chennai market. One is the professionals who are coming from other cities to work in Chennai, and they are looking for apartments to live in, which are ready to occupy and convenient to live in. These come with all the lifestyle features of swimming pools, clubhouses, proximity to retail destinations, entertainment options, all that. The traditional Chennaiite who has been looking for houses within Chennai city have also had an option to look for various plotted developments which are coming up for resale. Therefore, you have plenty of options. Decide on which city you want to go to, but make an informed decision by using data. Can you provide me your Chaco Saizad says, can you provide your insights and expert comments on Hennur Road, North Bangalore for purchase of residential property? Which are the other areas that would be a better investment destination in Bangalore within a budget of rupees 40 to 60 lakh? You see, in North Bangalore has come up in recent times and is a much appreciating destination because it is close to the airport, right? It is between the city and the airport, the new airport. Now, in Hennur Road, there has been a lot of demand, and I think you should be able to get properties within the 40 to 60 lakh. At the same time, what you should also look for is, there are other parts of Bangalore which have property in the 40 to 60 lakh. Check out the home in your budget section in the Bangalore report, and you will see that there are areas of Whitefield, Banerghatta Road and Sarjapur Road which have property options in the 40 to 60 lakh. But if you are buying in North Bangalore, there is a word of caution that I would like to give you here. North Bangalore does suffer from a lack of water. And if you are buying in a project, do make sure that you understand where the water in that development is coming from. R. Karthik has said, I'm looking for a flat in South Bangalore in the budget of 45 to 55 lakh. There are numerous flats in this budget, but most of them are in Banerghatta, and if there are B Khata, and if there are any flats with A Khata, there's no OC. My question is, how do I find an apartment which is A Khata and which has OC, and how important is OC when moving to a flat in Bangalore? Karthik, since I'm not a legal expert, I would suggest that you visit the open house section of Magicbricks and post this question to our legal experts. We have a solicitor on the site, S. Jalan and Company, who will be glad to take your query and answer it. We also will post it on our own, and you'll shortly hear from us, from our experts, on how you should be Dinesh Reddy has asked, how is the market or sales expected to be in Bangalore Northeast, preferably in and around Hennur, Holmavu, Babus Palaya, Panisandra, Kalkera, TC Palaya, etc. in the next couple of months or till middle of next year, as we are planning to commence a few projects in these localities. I would like to understand how the current sales is happening and how we can predict the future. Honestly speaking, nobody can predict the future, Dinesh. However, I can give you what we have understood from our research in this market. North Bangalore markets were growing at a breakneck speed 2 quarters ago. If you look at Panisandra has some really interesting projects, and of course the Manyata Tech Park is a big driver in the Panisandra region. The Bharatiya city, which is under construction right now, will also bring up a lot of commercial IT space and IT SEZ. So there is a lot of, there was a lot of demand. Right now, in the last one or two quarters, we have seen the demand in North Bangalore kind of stabilizing, and a lot of the demand has shifted to the Marthahalli, Whitefield, Electronic City, Sarjapur, Banegata Road. You know, one is the IT corridor and the other is the traditional part of Bangalore. Banegata and so on, Banegata, Kanakapura Road and so on are in demand because of the green areas, the openness, and you know, the traditional Bangalore USP. However, North Bangalore is not to be written off. I think North Bangalore has a very, very good future. But if you are planning to launch projects in North Bangalore, do check out what is the supply in that area. If you can check out the supply, and in Magicbricks PropIndex, we do give you demand and supply. Check out the North Bangalore demand and supply ratios. It will tell you as far as demand and supply goes with respect to budget, with respect to configurations, with respect to localities, and the types of properties. Once you read that assessment, you should be able to figure out whether what is the right time to launch. I hope I've answered your question. There is Rohit Kumar who says, I have a 3 BHK in a prime location in Dr. A.S. Rao Nagar, Hyderabad. I am considering selling the property and investing in another in Bangalore or Navi Mumbai, a 1 BHK, which will yield more rental income. Is this a good time to sell my property? Rohit, a good rule of the thumb is this. If you can post your property on the website, if you can get good buyers, fix a benchmark at which you would like to sell. That benchmark should actually cover what you want to buy in the other city. If you want to buy in Bangalore or in Bangalore? If you want to buy in Bangalore or Navi Mumbai, check out what the rental returns are there. Compare that to the rental returns in your city, in your property. If it is significantly higher, it's a good idea to sell now and reinvest somewhere else. If not, you have to take a call how the other areas are doing. Navi Mumbai and Bangalore, the areas where you want to buy another apartment, check out on PropIndex and see how it has fared quarter on quarter. This is the reason why we give you locality-wise options, so that you can assess how your locality has performed quarter on quarter. This is the 13th edition of the PropIndex, so you will be able to look back and see how these areas have performed. In Hyderabad, this is the real growth is yet to happen. But like I said earlier, there will be a lot of options that will come up all across Telangana and Hyderabad and Andhra Pradesh. So you have if you've decided to sell in Hyderabad, do check out the other areas carefully. If you have any further questions, do come to Open House and post it on Open House. We'd be happy to answer more of your questions. Is it good to invest in South or East Bangalore? This is a question by Raj Kumar. South Bangalore has good IT drivers all along Sarjapur Road. For a long time, Sarjapur Road was the area to watch out for. Currently, we find that Sarjapur itself is also drawing a lot of investment. In East Bangalore has always been a good place to invest because it has very strong IT drivers, and Bangalore is a city that is driven by IT. If you look at Whitefield, Electronic City, Marthahalli, these are all areas that have strong demand and good supply. So if you want to buy both these areas, your choice is between two IT corridors. Both of them are strong. Sarjapur Road has seen fresh investments from large IT companies, and the demand there is only expected to grow. So really you have to go down to the ground, check out the properties, shortlist some properties, check them out and see which one you would like to remain invested in. Both are good locations for you to invest. We have Rajkumar Bulund asking, he's looking to purchase a house in Bangalore to stay. His budget is around 35 to 38 lakh. He is looking for a well-connected, approachable, good area. I would prefer southern and eastern part of Bangalore. I will prefer 2 BHK with more amenities, preferably maximum 3 to 4 floor building. May I please know the area suitable for my budget and requirements, either for 2 BHK or a spacious 1 BHK. Rajkumar, I think you would comfortably get a 2 BHK within your budget. You have to look, because your budget is a little small, you have to look very actively in that area. What I would suggest is, go to the site, put your budget and search for properties. You'll get a number of properties that come in. Look at the amenities that have been posted. Now, the areas that you're looking for, South and East Bangalore, are IT driven, and therefore I'm assuming that you probably work somewhere in that region, therefore you would like to buy here. Many properties come with amenities. You would be able to check out the amenities on the site. A 2 BHK is is the most in demand in Bangalore. So check out the website, tally it with the trends that you see on PropIndex, and this will give you a good idea of where to buy. Do you think Hyderabad Metro will balance the real estate development in the city? Says Sehul Bhatt. Of course, the metro in any city balances the real estate development in the city. Let me give you the example of Delhi, which is the market where the metro is most evolved, and you can actually see trends in the property market. If you look at what happened with Delhi Metro, the first phase was in a remote, little-known location, which was Shadra to Tisazari, very small stretch. Even there, we noticed certain early trends happening. Today, now that most of the Delhi NCR is linked with the metro, any area near the metro has seen a bump up of property of rental values of between 15 and 25%. This doesn't happen overnight. During the construction phase, property values drop. When the construction is complete, about 6 months before the completion, you see the rental values picking up and occupancies go up. About 6 months after the completion of the project, capital values go up. So there is a method in the entire madness in the property market, and the metro actually opens out, so to speak, the entrails of the city for development, rather for redevelopment. Many of them are old areas of the city, and when the metro comes, there is a lot of redevelopment that happens. If it is planned by the authorities themselves, then that is a good thing for the market. If it is not planned, the market plans for itself. But metro is always a good driver in any market, and I would say that Hyderabad cannot be an aberration. What are all the upcoming areas of Bangalore where we can invest for commercial or residential properties? Nilanjan, I would have to tell you that Magicbricks is primarily a residential site. So we would be, most of the data that we analyze and the PropIndex itself is about residential properties. However, the residential and commercial in any city are always very well interlinked. Therefore, there will be strong linkages. We would say that in the north and south suburbs of Bangalore, along the industrial corridors are expected to see maximum residential development. If you look at what the Modi government is doing right now, they are pushing for growth, not only in the traditional IT sector, they are pushing for manufacturing thrust. And Bangalore is no different. Bangalore has both the IT and manufacturing drivers. Therefore, you should be looking at, if you're looking for a long-term investment, even in the budget, there have been 2 corridors out of Bangalore which have been mentioned as future growth areas. One is the Mumbai-Bangalore corridor, the impact of which will be felt along the Tumkur Road, and the Bangalore-Mysore corridor and Bidadi as an industrial center, the impact will be along the Mysore Road. These are both for the future. Immediately will it happen? I don't think so. But the Belgaum and adjoining areas are to be developed as a biotech R&D center, and this will impact both Tumkur Road and Mysore Road. There was also a mention of the Bangalore-Chennai industrial corridor, and this will impact areas such as the Electronic City and Outer Hosur Road. Having said which, these are all dependent on government policy. So if you're looking for a manufacturing thrust, that will happen a little in the future. You will be investing early on in this manufacturing cycle. Do you think it is a good idea to invest in Hyderabad today? Which are the growth corridors one should look at? Sachin, Hyderabad is a market which will never go out of fashion, for the simple reason that there has been a lot of corporate investment that has gone into the Hyderabad market. So even while the Telangana issue was at its peak, if you notice, Hyderabad's IT belt did not get seriously impacted. There was leasing happening, hiring happening, buying happening. A lot, that market was active, even though the rest of Hyderabad was largely impacted. Now, let me tell you which are the areas where I see the localities that are at the top of the file. Gachibowli, Miapur, Kondapur continue to top the list of the most preferred localities to buy for over a year now. It is primarily due to good connectivity and proximity to IT hubs and financial centers. So you see, any area that is along the IT corridor will do well and will continue to do well. Irrespective of how other investment destinations come up, Hyderabad, I don't think is going to go out of fashion. Therefore, we strongly back Hyderabad as a potential investment destination. However, don't go into, if you're looking at new investments and you have been reading about where the new capital is going to come up, I would say as a small investor, continue to invest in Hyderabad. When other investment options come, exit your Hyderabad investment if you need to, and then invest. Don't go into early stage investments in other new cities. Where should I invest? Gopal Nanda says, where should I invest, OMR or ECR? OMR is well established in its investment cycle. There are very few plots available for development. It is already a well occupied and well developed commercial and residential integrated corridor. It has its own problems of traffic and traffic jams and things like that. However, it is because of access to retail, entertainment, and all facilities, OMR continues to be a preferred location for the IT people. However, if I look at the preferred localities, top preferred localities in Chennai, I see Velachery, Medavakkam, Madipakkam, Palikarnai. The OMR is definitely up there. ECR is a place where I'm seeing a lot of interest currently, and I would say that go check out your prospects on ECR. do your research, figure out what are your options, go to the ground and check out the project. If need be, do figure out what are the what's the background of the developer whom you want to invest with. Do they have a tradition of handing over on time? Is the project according to your requirements? And if so, go and invest. But I would say that do check out the project on the ground before you put your money in. Amin Ahmed says, I am looking to invest in a ready property within a range of 20 to 40 lakh in Chennai. It is for investment purpose and thus rental returns should be good. Please suggest some locations. Let me first tell you, in a 20 to 40 lakhs, which are the places where you can purchase property. You can buy in Guduvancheri, Urapakkam, Ambattur, Vedavakkam. These are all areas where there is a lot of supply of homes in the 20 to 40 lakhs. Now, Vedavakkam is in along the OMR. You would be getting good rental returns. Other areas also, we have given you the rental and capital values both in the PropIndex and on Magicbricks advice section to refer to them and then decide whether you want to buy them. Anam Prasanna Kumar wants to know why the demand of properties up to rupees 20 lakh have remained minimal. Does demand-supply gap in budget range of up to rupees 20 lakh give us a chance to negotiate on prices further? Definitely. When the supply is more and the demand is less, it is a good chance to negotiate. Now let me give you a little background to what is happening in the property market. It is very similar to what happened with the Tata Nano. When the Nano was launched, the idea was that anybody who had a two-wheeler would be able to graduate to a Nano. However, the Tata soon realized that they had forgotten one aspect of this, that when a person who has a two-wheeler wants to graduate to a four-wheeler, he wants to buy a vehicle of aspirational value. The Alto and the Eon and the Santro and vehicles like that seem to be more aspirational than the Nano, which was classified as an affordable property. The up to rupees 20 lakh category in the housing market has been classified and tagged as affordable. A lot of people, even though that is the range that they can comfortably afford, do not want to buy a property in that range because it is only affordable and they feel that they can stretch themselves and buy a little more. And that is why the up to 20 lakh range has actually fallen in demand. However, if that is something that you can afford and that is something you can afford conveniently, I would say go for it. Because today there is more supply than demand and you can drive a hard bargain. If you buy a property worth 20 lakh in a locality that is convenient to you, which has all the facilities that you are looking for, access to social infrastructure like schools, hospitals, playgrounds, temples and so on, then it is a good buy for you. Just remember that the up to 20 lakh range has not has fallen in buyers' estimations because of an aspirational tag being missing, but that tag will happen very soon because the government itself is saying that affordable means what is affordable to a host of people, and that entire affordable range has gone up to roughly about 40 to 50 lakh. So even whatever you can afford within this range, buy it. I would say go for it. Can we say that Hyderabad has a winning edge over Andhra cities from the end user point of view? Ask Rahul Yetur. Rahul, I think that is purely speculative. I would say that any property market is a good market to invest. If you invest too early on in the cycle, you will have to take a very, very long-term view. The other cities that are coming up, some may be already in existence, some may be new cities. However, because the policy has not been panned out yet, I would not like to comment on that. Hyderabad, I can comfortably say it's a good investment. Adil Abbas says, despite being the IT city of India, where demand for rented accommodation is always high, majority of localities in Bangalore have seen a drop in rental values in the last quarter. Why is it so? Abbas, I think I explained this when I was making my presentation. Let me say this again. Rental values stabilize when more people are looking to buy. The capital values having remained stable for the last 2 quarters, a lot of consumers feel that this is a good time to buy because now going forward, values don't drop any further. There's political stability in the country, the economy is picking up. So there is, the sentiment is positive and there's no reason for markets to go down. As a result, what they are looking for is, the values will keep going up, and therefore a lot of people will now start buying. When people are seeking to buy, they don't want to pay a higher rental value than what they have paid so far, which is the reason why there has been and even the drop is very marginal. It's not like rental values have plummeted. We have seen a consistent rise in rental values over 2 or 3 quarters, and now they have stabilized or marginally dropped. So I wouldn't be very concerned if I'm a landlord here, but I would say that don't expect rental values to zoom as much as they have in the last 2-3 quarters. Where should I look for luxury homes in Chennai? My budget is 2 to 3 crores. When I look at Magicbricks, I find that there are good options of 3 to 4 BHK in T Nagar, Cholaimedu, Kovalam, and Egmore. Essentially what's happening is that Chennai is seeing a lot of redevelopment. Redeveloped properties in Chennai are offering a premium luxury apartments, and that is what is coming up for sale right now. So if you're looking for luxury properties, check out on the site, read the locality profiles that we have given them in both the Magicbricks locality section as well as the advice section, and make your choice on which are the localities that you should go for. Rajul Kumar wants to know which is the wise investment in the present scenario, plot, apartment or villa in Bangalore. Rajul, it is actually a personal preference. I would say if you buy a plot, you have to hold it for a longer period of time. Buy a plot only if you're entering early on in the cycle, so that you get the benefit of the leveraged value that goes up. But you must have at least 8 to 10 years for your plot values to really give you the best returns. Apartment, depending on which part of the city you want to invest, while you're waiting for apartment values to go up, you can also get rental returns, and that is what we have analyzed in the PropIndex, where you can offset the capital values against the rental values and compute the yield that you get out of your property investment. Villas are another category of apartments, I would say. This is what is the premium product in the Bangalore market, and it is largely popular among the senior management of the IT companies or the large manufacturing units. Traditional Chennaiites are looking for newer properties, but they are looking for those properties in MG Road and so on. So therefore, in Bangalore, you will find, I'm sorry, I said Chennai, I think, traditional Bangaloreans are looking for properties back in the city center because those are the areas they're familiar with and those are the areas that they would like to live in. Ashwini Khera asks, when prices rise, do you think all the segments, luxury and otherwise, are equally hit? Of course they are. If you look at the sentiment in the market today, the economic sentiment in the market is very, very gung-ho that India will go forward. And when there is the positive sentiment in the market, the economy is doing well, salaries go up, people have more disposable income and they would like to invest. Whichever category you're talking about, there is always someone for whom that is an affordable category. Up to 20 lakhs, if you're early on in your job cycle, you will find that that is affordable to very young buyers or people who have composite family income of maybe about 10 lakhs. But there are at every level, as your salary and your income level goes up, there is a category of affordability that you aspire for, and therefore all categories tend to do well. Luxury as a category is something that is has been doing well in the last 3 to 4 quarters, and I'll tell you why. Because values have remained stable, and it's not, the salaries have not really dropped in corporate India. A lot of people feel that the property that they're staying in is something that they can trade for to upgrade to a better residence. Because of this, a lot of people have started selling off their smaller units and picking up luxury units in newer and units across the city. In these developments, developers are giving modern lifestyles, backup facilities, a lot of lifestyle features, and therefore the quality of life is improving, and these become aspirational. Even though there is the demand for luxury has been rising by about 3 to 4% every 6 months, we still feel that there is more supply than demand in all cities, and therefore you will find that they are oversupplied. However, the demand is climbing and the demand is robust. We have Manish Bhatija, who says several residential localities in Hyderabad are now getting commercialized in an extensive way. Is it right to invest in such areas as price rise is quite evident, but the quality of life is degrading? Manish, that's a very intelligent comment. Let me tell you that this is inevitable. In cities in localities which are in demand, there will be a certain amount of commercialization. But what you should be able to take a call is, if you buy a property in some locality, don't buy it on the outer rim of the locality. Those areas, those ends of the locality have more propensity to go in for commercial development. The inner areas, which are likely to remain residential, is where you will have a better quality of life. As a homeowner, you don't want to be boxed between two commercial developments. So try and avoid those areas which have outward-facing fronts, therefore have the propensity to become commercialized. We have Sheikh Khader asking, is it better to buy land and build a house, or build a house flat, or buy a house flat directly? Could you please tell me the differences and advantages we get for both of them? The areas around Miapur. Sheikh, I have two alerts to give you here. When you buy a plot of land, and then you have to tear down the existing structure, get a new structure built, you have to manage the facilities, you have to manage the contractors, the building process and so on, which is something that a lot of people don't like to do. However, if you buy a plot of land and build, you all 2, 3, whatever number of floors you have are all for you to use. If you buy an apartment, you're getting only one floor and you're getting one unit. And that unit is something that you don't have to strive to build. You will be able to ride what the builders are giving you. Also remember that when a builder is building a house, there are certain common facilities that come with it, which when you build on your own, you have to plan for yourself. Jyoti Upadhyay says, high-rises are gradually replacing plots everywhere. Is the appreciation better for flats? Jyoti, it's like this. It is a way of life. When you look at high-rises, it is within a gated complex. There is a certain level of security that comes bundled with it. There you have neighbors with you, so you have, you know that it is community living. because there are so many units, you can have some common facilities like maybe a small retail store there for your daily needs. You can have clubhouses and such facilities. Therefore, high-rises are popular because people find that more convenient to stay, especially in today's way of life. Having said that, should you not buy a plot? It is a personal choice, and it is. I think high-rises are more prevalent among the younger working couples who like to ensure the safety of their children and their parents when they are not available. We are on to our last two questions now. There is Venkat Ganesh who wants to know which localities would offer a flat within 15 to 20 lakh in Chennai along with connectivity and infrastructure. I will go back to our PropIndex, the Chennai section. In the up to 20 lakh section, you have, in the up to 20 lakh budget, you have places like Tiruvallur, Sri Perumbudur, Oragadam and Guduvancheri, where you can get property in this budget. Whether there is connectivity and infrastructure, as localities, I think connectivity and infrastructure is present. But if you are looking at particular developments, do check on the ground what the connectivity and infrastructure there is. Thank you so much, users. I think I'll take the last query of the day today. There is Koel who says, why is the property market in North Chennai not doing well? Property prices have not risen in the past. In North Chennai areas, I think, let's look at the property market and the logic of a property market. Prices rise when there is a very strong economic driver, and these economic drivers are actually concentrated towards the Sri Perumbudur, the OMR and so on, which is probably why you're not seeing a rise in property prices. Having said that, once the property market picks up, most parts of the city, which has strong drivers, will grow. If the area is not in a decline, the property prices will go. So, Koel, you'll just have to be a little more patient. Thank you so much, users, for participating in the webinar. Next week, we will have, next 2 weeks, we will be dealing with the northern and eastern markets and the western markets. So, do join us again. Thank you so much for being part of the webinar.
And I'm really thankful to our guest speaker today for conducting this wonderful webinar. It was indeed a great session. I would also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a success. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Jayashree, for taking the time out and having us. I hope you have a great evening ahead.
Thank you, Aradhana. Thank you, users.
Thank you. We will close now. Bye-bye.
Bye.